2 of the Interior Ministry Museum is the Police College. A museum is a grandiose memorial book of humanity. Anton Lunacharsky. Everything and everybody has a history. A city, a country, a person. The Police College is no exception. Our museum was officially opened on the 26th of December 2006. The museum is divided into 2 parts, the Old-Time Museum and the Contemporary Museum. The museum's exposition uses artistically designed materials, photos and documentary sources, valuable artifacts from the excavation sites. Employees of the Central Museum of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation helped us create the museum. The police function appeared simultaneously with the emergence of the state. In the 6th, 7th century and later in Kievan Rus, the functions of the police were performed by the priestly squad. At the bottom of the windows, we can see a unique collection which gave us a cadet of our college, Eugene Baladin. I'd like to say that Peter I himself personally defined the 5 main tasks in the police work: protection of public order, fighting poverty, the fight against homelessness, fair safety, sanitary condition of the city.
The Ministry of Internal Affairs was created on September 8, 1802 during the reign of Alexander I. His first minister was Prince Victor Pavlovich Kochubey, whose portrait we can see above in the center. The structure of the Ministry of Internal Affairs included the most important body of the Department of Internal Affairs. From 1868 to 1869, during the reign of Alexander II, a police reform was carried out. The Ministry of Internal Affairs was declared the central body of police management. The selection of police officers was tightened. 5 police officers were required for 2,000 residents.
The third stand abroad is as to the beginning of the 20th century. During this period, the functions and assignments of the police expanded. Moreover, police stations appeared, fingerprinting developed, a detective police was created, as well as Russians began to use passports of a more modern type. In the course of the February Revolution of 1917, a militia was formed. By the way, the difference between the police and the militia is very simple. The word police means of a regular body and the militia is a civil one.
As you know, after the civil revolution of 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, came to power. Many things were looted and destroyed during this period. For example, the case about the royal secrecy was stolen, later was taken under personal control by Vladimir Ilyich himself. The royal secrecy was found and returned to its rightful place. The thieves were punished by law.
After the October Revolution, unfortunately, the number of homeless children and orphans increased, and one of the main concerns of the Soviet police was the care of them. They say Dzerzhinsky himself went around Moscow in the evenings and finding street children, brought them to the police station, where they were washed and distributed to orphanages.
The next stand will briefly tell us about the creation and work of the NKVD, People's Commissariat of the Interior.
Speaking about the history of the police, we cannot miss the period of the Second World War, which began on June the 22nd, 1941 and ended on May the 9th, 1935. Samples of Russian and fascist harmless shell casing are presented on the 7th exposition. About 25% of the police personnel went to the front. During the Second World War, the police also maintained order that fought against crime. Also, it was difficult. The great merit of the police was the elimination of the Black Cat gang, and sad thing about is this gang included teenagers.
In the center of the room we can see the bright red banner. It was present to us by the main museum of the Interior Ministry. The banner had belonged to the 61st Separate Battalion of Internal Troops of the NKVD. The banner is a real authentic one.
This tent presents an interesting artifact, a militia uniform, kittel, with orders and award that belonged to retired Major Fatuhi. He was a permanent training officer all the years. This exhibit was transferred to our museum by graduate of our college in 1996, Police Captain Олег Мотылев.
Devoted to the fighting against crime from 1945 to 1980s. Also in 1980, the museum apartments of Alexei Tolstoy was robbed. By the way, the declared show of this criminal offense became a classic Moscow Criminal Investigation Department's work. Another important crime of the period was solved. It was a case about the Stradivarius violin, which was found and returned to the museum.
The high-profile case of Chikatilo, whose name has become synonymous with the Maniac Killer. It's interesting that Chikatilo was an exemplary family man and a very good worker. But at heart, he was an evil, ruthless, insidious rapist and murderer.
There is the coat and cap of Lieutenant General Viktor Sissunov in front of you. They were gifted to our museum by him. Viktor Pavlovich, retired Lieutenant of the Internal Service, a former head of the main directorate of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the USSR, a member of the Great Patriotic War, and a member of the Russian Council of Veterans of the Russian Internal Ministry, always cooperates with us. He transfers his long-term experience to our cadets and participates in the education of the younger generation.
Dear friends, our virtual tour was a great opportunity to introduce you to the Museum of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Moscow Police College. We, students, invite you to come and see our remarkable museum. Take care.